Welcome and Happy New Year. Fantastic to be coming back with a new guest, exciting guest, and hopefully some great advice. Lots of podcasts will be coming out over the next months as we get into the business end of the season to kick us off for 2025. Close personal friend and long-time contact in football, Chris Cousins, Sports Group USA. Thank you for coming down.
Thanks for having me. Yeah. Always good to see you.
Definitely, and even more exciting, you're spending a lot more time out here now.
Yep, you've made me move out indirectly, visiting you for years and then just falling in love with the place.
But how are you settling in? How's the family?
Good, yeah. Sort of Granda's nice, as you know.
Enjoying the winter weather a lot more, I'm sure.
Yeah, you haven't visited me enough. We won't go there.
Step by step, you keep me too busy.
You need a spare hour, don't you?
Definitely do. But no, for me, this is a really important podcast for our families and our football community, because I think it's such a minefield, and discuss the college route. Let's go to America. What does it look like? How do I do it? And is it the right step for me? And I think with your experience in the industry and the fantastic care, not even support to facilitate things, but the care you give to families and their players, it would be great to hear your thoughts over the next 20-30 minutes on what does the American dream look like, and what can it provide for players.
Yeah, well, obviously we've connected. It's nearly 10 years ago now, I think, because we needed a pathway for people who weren't quite ready to step into the college system in America. So we needed a gap year situation, people from England coming over here. But a lot has changed in 10 years, as you know. So fast forward to now, it's got to a situation now where essentially a gap year, so if anyone doesn't know what a gap year is, it's a year after high school, basically. Yeah. Because of the levels of college soccer in America, because people really underestimate American football. I mean, when I went out there, before World War II, whatever it was, 20 years ago, it was kind of like, oh, you're going to America, it's kind of a laugh, like, yeah, all right, yeah. And I thought I'd be the best player there and all that sort of stuff. I was surprised I wasn't, and there was a lot of good players there. People playing, I mean, on my team was a guy from Serie B, who played Serie B the year before. He was injured, but just kind of wanted to carry on his career and just did that. He said he was 19, but he was older than that. At the time, it was different. But now, if you look through the teams, I mean, we've had England internationals, a variety of national team players, and there's players who play Dog and Duck FC who would just need an extra different chance. Like in England, you know what it's like, it's difficult if you're not in a club by the time you're 11, 12, it's pretty much impossible. There's the Jamie Vardy's where you can say there's ones and twos, but football's a tough industry. So America does give you that opportunity, and now what's happened then is I think social media has helped. I mean, it's helped both of our businesses because you get to spread the word about what you do, but social media has helped get the message across that America is an opportunity to continue football, because like for example in Europe, if you're not at a club by the time you're 18, you just kind of, right, I'll now go to university or start working and kind of play on a Saturday or Sunday, whatever. But in America you continue that, you can play full-time football and get a degree. So that's important for a lot of families and for a lot of people. For me, like if I were to take my badge off and wherever it is there, I wish it was that badge I work for, but it's that one. But like a degree, unless you're studying something very specific, like aeronautical engineering, you want to work for NASA or be a doctor, most people just do like sort of generic degrees like business, and stuff like that. But for me, that 4 years is obviously, take the football aside, it's a great opportunity to have a different life experience. But then secondly, it opens up a lot more doors in the industry. Like in America is massive. America's the size of Europe. It could be bigger if they get Canada and Greenland as well. But there's a lot of opportunities from high school all the way to professional clubs to expand in whatever career. You get to meet new people. You might meet your future wife, husband, stuff like that. So it's a great experience. But going back to football, the level of the standard has obviously gone up because. I mean, I'll talk about it in a second. There's different rules now where there's less teams and less players, but the demands have got higher. So the supply and demands completely flip. With girls, if you can play, you can go to America. Obviously, the highest level is the best in the world. But you can play. But talking about the guys, it's a lot harder to do it, and people kind of underestimate. Like, America can easily play that.
Yeah.
They all talk about, I want to go play Division 1, and people don't understand the different divisions, how it works. But yeah, it's got to a stage now where, like, we have players here right now who are on their gap year. They might even stay another year, and just may not go to America because it might work well for them doing education somewhere else. But I think for football in America, it's definitely people get. It's a bit of a weird scenario because every single day there's different rule changes, there's different scenarios happening. Yeah. Like, you can't keep up with it. I struggle to keep up with it, but I think in the next 5 years it's going to dramatically change. But I think for the better, and it become the best U23 league in the world. Personally,
and I think facility-wise, it's right up there already, isn't it? I mean, they're playing in incredible stadiums and getting fans and stuff that even the Premier League clubs can't, provide for their U23 players. Sometimes you're playing in their training ground with, 10, 20 people there, So in terms of that game day, match day experience, I think it's really up there at a fantastic level already. And I mean, in terms of the big news around the rosters being cut down and the amount of spots you can give to someone, I think it's the 28, that seems drastically lower than what it has been in other years. What do you think that means for players that want to go and play D1, D2, and some people that say it's D1 or nothing for me,
Well, yeah, the D1 or nothing thing for me for a while has been a bit like, it's not. I used to look at it as in like a negative, like, oh, you just like, it's just ridiculous. But now I think it's just educational. I just don't think they understand like how it all works, which is fine. They watch basketball, American football. The best teams are Division 1. Why would you not go play in Division 1? Yeah. But soccer's a worldwide sport, so all these like Division 3, NEIA, junior college, all these different divisions can go looking under rocks everywhere and create the best team in the country in one of the weirdest and worst divisions. Yeah. But American football and basketball is very insular for the US, and everyone goes plays at the top divisions. The roster changes. I mean, the Division 1 or bust thing. It's going to get worse. No, not get worse. Sorry, it's going to get harder to go Division 1. Yeah. I mean, even this morning, I was speaking to Stanford University, one of the biggest universities. I say speaking, it was by email, and they were. It's in my head, I was speaking.
Audio.
Yeah, I'll put it on audio. But they were saying like they're only looking for a couple more players for 2026 already. But if you can imagine their team, they've got, say, 28 people. It might have been 35 last year, but they've had to cut it down now to 28. Yeah. That's 7 players that they've had to release or graduated. They might only be looking for 2 players, 3 players, 4 players a year max. So worldwide. So then if you do the maths, like, let's say 5 to be generous. 5 players per team, which is like, say, 200. There's not a lot of players needed every year for Division 1. Yeah. And I think the odds are, if you're a male footballer, soccer player in the US, if you're in high school, this is US only, not including international, you've got 1% chance playing Division 1. Wow. That's just US. Factor in international, that's going to be obviously less, that percentage. But I think people need to just educate themselves on the different sort of levels. And it's also about making yourself look as good as possible. People think that they play MLS Next, right? There's a lot of players who play MLS Next. There's more players who play MLS Next than there is available college spots. So even that alone, like that division doesn't mean anything. Yeah. But it's about standing out. So sometimes, I mean, I've seen it myself, and that's why we work together. People come here, add this to their resume, and go, I've got a club here. But also, it's not even that. The coaches look at it and go, that kid can play. Sorry, he can travel. He can independently live somewhere else. He's got a bit about him. Yeah. And then they're pushing themselves, and then. It's typically very hard in the first year to make a first team here. Yeah. I mean, does it happen often?
Depends where you come from, but it's difficult. Yeah,
it's difficult.
To adjust and different way of playing, different concepts.
What I'm saying is the odds are very slim. But you're pushing yourself. So you might have been the best player in your team in the US. Yeah. And you're coming to be like maybe number 10 out of 50, or like it's just. But that's the same as college. All the college players were the best players in their teams. Yeah. And then now you're just kind of a small fish in a bit of a bigger pond, so to speak. Yeah. So it's difficult. People. I mean, and then there's another side of it all. The international numbers are going up for people going to America. Americans don't like that, and they think it's but some Americans like it because they think it's helping their development in football. Which, if you look at the starting 11s for like the final 4 teams throughout the divisions, a lot of them were English international. So people go, that's not fair on the Americans. But for me, I mean, I can see why they say that, but for me, I think it helps development. If it makes the football better, players who are meant to rise to the top will
only the best will be there.
Exactly. It's like anywhere in the world.
And I think, you know, for me, that's a big thing that people don't always realise is obviously if you're getting a player that's had an experience, a scholarship here in Europe, you know, that obviously goes at least to you're 18, maybe got kept on for a year and then it doesn't work out for whatever reason. It is a reality that here you pick a professional pathway over going to college most of the time, and then it's when, if you get released by Chelsea or you get released by Fulham or whoever it might be, you start reassessing your options, and then, you know, someone like yourself gives really good advice and what's going to be best for that player. But they might be 20, 21 by the time they turn up and start playing college soccer, you know. If you're a freshman graduating straight from high school trying to compete with almost a man now, you know, I think a lot of players are shocked by the physicality, and it's almost a men's league a lot of the time, you know. Yeah,
well, in the 4-year schools, NCAA, NAIA, it's pretty much very few under 21s are playing in the starting 11s because they just want men. Like all the communication I get, 9 times out of 10, we want older players, graduate players. So there's a lot of years there to develop. And I had a meeting on the drive here in the car, and they were just talking about that sort of thing there, where he wanted his son to go out this year, but then we talked about it, and he goes, well, actually, I'm going to take a year out, and then we maybe talk about options such as this, to kind of feel that, get physically more developed. But even at 19, it's difficult. Like, I just think people need to be more realistic, and that's not a cruel thing to say. It's just people need to understand their own profile. But going back to the people with scholarships in the UK, playing from clubs or wherever in Europe, we've got plenty of players, and I can give you a number of examples where people who go through the system from 7 years old, they might even captain their under-18 side, playing a Category 1 team, Category 2 team in England, for example, a professional club, if anyone doesn't know what that means, but and then they get released, or they get offered a professional contract, and that professional contract typically is only a couple £100 a week. Yeah. So we've had a number of players who turn that down. So even though the dream is professional contract, the reality and like looking at it and going, well, am I going to get in that first team in the next year or two, or am I just prolonging my death or pain? So we have a lot of guys who just basically, hello seagulls, but who basically just kind of turn them down, go to America. They look at that as like a different set of eyes. Yeah. And then. Sorry, I try. The seagulls.
A bit noisy.
No, it's all right, they're chirping in out. But I'll give you an example. What I was trying to say was, we had a player, he captained England 17s and England 18s, national team, not schoolboys. For various reasons, he's gone to America, done really well, got named All-American this year in his final year. It's called Max Broughton. Went to West Virginia, one of the best teams in the country. He didn't get drafted. So that even then, like at the time I was speaking to his dad, I was like, I don't think he's made for MLS. He's not big enough centre back and stuff like that. So he's gone into the USL. So he's a starting point, which is it's just good. It's a professional contract. But even then, people think, national team level. Like that's the level like of America. Like it's like he's played for England. He captained 17 just after they won the World Cup. Do you remember back whenever it was? So it's an exciting future. People need to be more realistic, and I think opportunities to expand your knowledge and your world of view by places like this is important.
And what about so I'm a 18, 19-year-old young aspiring player. What would be your 3 key tips and advice for me to make me stand out and have a chance to be signed by a college team?
Wow. So, I mean, I always say to people, imagine you're a college coach, how do they recruit? Typically, they've only got 3 or 4 members of staff, so that's why recruiting agencies like us are used, because we're like an extension of that scouting network. So imagine emails coming in, like I typically use WhatsApp, but let's say an email comes in, subject line. How does your subject line look, right? So let's say you've got a 5'4" central defender with like bad grades, plays for Dog and Duck FC. Then you've got a 6'5" central defender, Man United 21s, A stars, whatever. Like, who's he going to pick? And that doesn't even mean that player is worse than the Man United one. I mean, it probably is, but do you know what I mean? It's all about making your profile, your subject line look as good as possible. So the first thing I say to people is make your subject line, your profile, the black and whites, look as good as possible. So the grades that's a controllable. Level you play, somewhat, you can't control a lot of that, but you can make it look as good as possible. And then it's things like this is not the 3 things, but I'm kind of going off on one. But so all right, we'll start again. Number 1, sort how your profile looks through an outsider versus somebody else. Control your controllables with that. Number 2, video's important.
Yeah.
So video's fine. I watched a video this morning and it was just all bibs versus bibs. And I was like, well, it's just such bad level. Somebody asked me my opinion, do you think my son could play college? And I was like, I can't even really tell. Like, it's just literally, like, it's like 5-a-side dad's league.
So it's the most professional setting you can. You get to play a game one time in a stadium, good kit, good angle for the camera.
And I think as shallow as it sounds, coaches they almost let everyone else, end of the day, if you play for England, or you play for the Dog and Duck FC, I'm using them as an example, if you play for them, I apologise if they exist. The natural scouting selections happened at some point, right? But if you watch a video and that guy is playing in a stadium, so let's say the national stadium, but you guys playing occasionally, like you watch that, you go, okay, that catches your attention versus like a VO pitch side and nowhere. Do you know what I mean? So like make yourself look as good as possible. So your best clip might be on something random, but like catch your attention. You've got essentially 15 seconds to catch something. It's like a trailer to a movie.
Right.
So like your video, number 2, make it as like punchy in the first 15 seconds.
Don't save your best goal for the minute 2.5 when you're thinking.
But your best goal, if you're a central defender, I don't want to see your best goal. I don't care. Like it doesn't matter if you scored a screamer one time. I've done loads of them, but I would never put it when I was 7. Against little 3-year-olds, but I don't tell anyone that. But yeah, I'll just lie to you, I don't know. But basically, it's about showing what you're good at. So they're looking for a central defender. They're not looking for he's a central defender. Like he scores. I don't care about scoring goals. I want somebody who can defend and show your best bits, your highlights.
Super strengths.
Super strengths. When you watch highlight videos all the time as well, don't you? And it's like, I mean, is there anything there that I've missed that you like in terms of highlight videos?
I think when people put really annoying songs.
Oh no, that's just no songs for me. But everyone's different.
So I think
music.
People put so much emphasis on the music, and it's like I turn something off because you can't take the music.
I just mute it. So mute the music.
So perfect. And then number 3, what do you think? What's your opinion on things such as your own LinkedIn profile, things like that? Is a variant that's important or not?
LinkedIn?
Yeah, not for college recruitment.
No. I think people. It's funny because a lot of parents control their Twitter accounts.
Right.
And if you just look at everyone's Twitter accounts, they're all the same. Like there's 10,000 MLS next players. Whatever, that's wrong number, but you know what I mean? There's a lot of the samey. So if you have that, brilliant, but I don't think people emphasise too much on the social media. Obviously keep it clean, make sure you look good because they will check you out, but don't worry about spending too much time. But LinkedIn, I've never really heard of anyone searching on LinkedIn for recruitment.
And in terms of like, you see so many different noise coming at you, like there's recruitment agencies, some good, some bad, some indifferent, there's talent ID days and college events and things like that. There's trial days in Europe, so it's a really bit of a minefield for someone to navigate through. Like, what should people be focusing their time on, other than just being the best version of themselves and playing at the highest level they can? Should they be focusing on getting lots of footage and playing locally and then sending it to people, or should they be travelling? What would you suggest?
The number one thing I suggest, and it kind of predates all of that, is get some advice from somebody at what level you are. Because people go to, I'm going to Stanford's ID camp. Like great experience, but what a waste of time, waste of money. Spending 10 grand with a family going for the weekend. Do you know what I mean? Like, just get advice of here's your level. And we've started to do that with not even people who are clients of ours, just saying, look, we almost draw an image of there's levels where you think you should look at. And people go you've just saved me thousands there because I'm not going to start going after that because I've got a bit of obviously it's opinionated, it doesn't mean it's true. But you can kind of give a general sort of idea. And but I think just find out your level and go, right, okay, I'm going to be realistic now. It might hurt as well. Like most people think they're the best player in the world. but they do. I mean, that's what you want though. You want people who have the ambition to be the best player they can be. And if someone comes to us and say to them, do you want to turn professional? If they say no, I'll be like, what?
What should we do?
You want them to do that. But find that out, and then in terms of then you go, right, okay, my strategy is this is what I'm aiming at. Start looking at areas you want to live in, and almost concentrate where you're aiming for in terms of the colleges. They might not want you yet, but at least if you know that you're good enough at that level, they should want you. Some of them should want you, but obviously you've got to start this early doors as well. And then video-wise, just keep a collection of your best matches, easy to watch, easy to access. Too many people they'll send a file to a coach. He's got to download it. It takes him 10 minutes to download a file. Bash it on YouTube. Great YouTube channel. Just put your games on there. You've got everything in. Here's three of my best matches, and here's like my highlight video, whatever, like that. And then you've got that. It's just go through the motion. Like, just don't waste money on things that you don't need to. It's like I say, good experience. Like, try. It's hard at 18 years old to understand what level you're at without seeing. Because it's easy for us now, because we can look down at what there is in terms of, I don't mean looking down on them, but looking in the past. Yeah. We've gone through the ages, we've played football, and we go, that's the levels you need to be at. And they don't have that yet. So it's like, you kind of need to lean on people. And some local, obviously, if they're playing club teams in America, they tell them what they want to hear sometimes. Right. Keep them in the club to keep them playing.
Okay.
But it's almost like a neutral sort of voice, whether it's a teacher at school who played in college or just somebody else, like, I don't know. Like
that's a really good one as well. Someone that's not got a vested interest in you being around. And I think one last question from me, I think there's been so many good pieces and great bits of advice, but when my limited experience going, stateside, having played in USL a little bit as well, it's such a vast range of styles and playing styles from club to club, not necessarily league to league. If you say in Europe, in Spain, obviously they've all got different game models and play differently, but you know what Spanish football looks like roughly. Scottish football the same. England, if you go over to Italy, it's very much got a DNA that you can identify quite quickly. But for me and what I know, and again I'm a little bit ignorant on it, but it seems like coach to coach that it's just a complete box of worms. Yeah. So when you're a player and you play a certain way and you've come through maybe a system that was a certain style and method of thinking, how would you advise people to research schools? And obviously lots of these coaches, they seem to stay in a position for a long time, so you're going to hope that they're going to have their game model and their brand that will be there for quite some time, I
don't think even young players even consider game models, and they just look at a team, don't they? Like, it's probably like when you're an older coach, you're like, oh, what's the game model? How do they play? What's like stuff like that.
I guess putting it down simply, if I'm a player who likes to get the ball for the goalkeeper and pass it, and I'm going to a coach who the last 10 years has just played directly and used the college system of lots of substitutes and pressing and doesn't play through the midfield, is that something they should think about, or should we be looking for the best scholarship dollars that you can get?
Well, no, it's a mixture in it.
Mixture.
It's a mixture, because ultimately, like, you can't be like, look, if I'm, let's say I'm a really small striker, and he's trying to recruit me, and all I do is so I watched a few of the matches back, because most people don't even watch any college games. It's weird. Like, people go, I want to play Division 1. Oh, have you seen Division 1? Never watched a game.
Right.
It's weird.
Right.
But that's just because that's just how it is. So watch matches, kind of understand the sort of. I mean, if you go side by side, even the girls. If you watch the girls play Division 1, top of Division 2. They're athletes, absolute units, and they're rapid. And like, so imagine on the guy side is the same. So you're like, oh wow, you don't really like. It's like me now. I can watch Bradford City or I support, and I think, oh, I could probably still play there. I couldn't at all. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, even that, even Premier League people go, I could play them. It's easy, and then all the crowd shouting at them. Yeah. Anyway, going off topic there, but like, you look at the team, you can kind of get like, it's a bit geeky, but like, just not like have a watch online or in person, see what the formation's like. Because if someone's recruiting you, you want to see how they play.
How you're going to fit in.
And how you're going to fit in. I think the whole, like, you're right there about there's not like a DNA, US DNA, because it's the franchise model, because there's no like punishment for finishing last. Yeah. So people just try, like, we're going to bring him in and he does a long ball DNA, what do you want to call it, I don't know. Yeah.
Great coaching tool.
Yeah, I can tell I'm a UF for nothing. But basically, like, that's why it's like that. So there's all these like different things, but yeah, definitely 100% just look at, if you're getting recruited by somebody, you want to watch how they play and how you fit into that, because it needs to fit you. Because even like we talk about a keeper who was here before, who hasn't played a minute in college. He should have been looking at that team that he's getting recruited by, thinking, what sort of keepers does he like? Who's he got on the roster already? Who's going to be there? Let's say he's fresh in. He goes, he loves tall, big, strong keepers. He's not going to fancy me, really, is he? I'm a third choice, really. Yeah. And like, stuff like that. It's just like, you got
to take the ego out of it.
Well, take the ego out of it. Yeah, I don't know what the word is, but basically, just be realistic.
Love it.
I think that's the key word.
Exciting 2025, and it seems like you've got lots of big projects coming as well, and best of luck with absolutely everything. Excited for you getting some time with the boys later on today as well, and can't thank you enough for coming down again. So I'm sure you'll be able to go into even more detail off camera and give us some of your nuggets, but thank you for absolutely everything, and whatever we can support with, we're always here to collaborate.
And thank you for your friendship over the years. thanks for everything, and yeah, always.
And I hope we get down and see you soon.
No, whatever. the room's there if you. Well, thank you.
Good. Thank you so much.